interested in creating and like uh just that you're a PhD student, stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I am Cameron. I'm studying a PhD at York St John. I did my undergrad in music production at York St John, and I did my master's in music production as well at York St John. The music I kind of make now is film music. So I'm looking at combining kind of traditional scoring styles with modern producing techniques. And my PhD itself is looking at Hans Zimmer, the film composer. First of all, obviously, I love the course because I'm still here. I started my undergrad in 2013, so and now it's 2020. I'm still involved. So no, it's an absolutely fantastic experience. I where I'm from originally, like my it's the middle of nowhere countryside, and I thought it'd be really overwhelming. But York St John, looking at the size of the course and the teachers and the lecturers, it's quite a personal kind of experience. It's very one-on-one, so you could always kind of get the support, and that's what I loved about it. It was very it was a very personal experience, and yeah, the music production as well, as my background was kind of classical. We had singer-songwriters, we had kind of rock musicians as well, we had lots of EDM artists as well, a couple of violinists as well. It was such it was like a culture clash, but it was amazing that we all got on really well, and we all kind of started combining genres. And I think that's what I absolutely loved about the course in the undergrad. We got like really, it was such a collaborative experience, and just working on projects that you never thought you'd work on.
Yeah, I mean, that's similar with the course now. Like, that's something that's stood the test of like whatever has changed since you've been in the course versus the undergrad that I'm doing now. Is like everyone comes from different backgrounds, but everyone's creating like these really weird genres. And I know there's been like a duo that's done like drum and bass and like heavy metal at the same time, and that's like crazy interesting music. Yeah, I definitely agree that like the collaboration is a big part of it.
And once you come to like the final year projects, it's when everyone really shines. It's when everyone is really, really creative together, because they're all kind of sharing. Everyone's got their own projects, obviously, but everyone's got the same end goal of creating a really good product. And it's just fantastic to work alongside other musicians as well, and create really, really good productions as well.
Right. Yeah. What do you think is the most challenging about like this course, not just like your undergrad, but also maybe your master's and your PhD?
For me, I always got distracted because there was always so many things going on, and I was just like, "Oh, this is just amazing." So it's like it was like slight procrastination, but like creative procrastination. I was always just ending up like getting sidetracked with other projects.
Right.
So just making sure that I was on track with the projects that I was actually meant to do that would go towards the course. But the thing with the music production course is that you always keep getting extra things like, oh, this is potential. I could record this band, and as you can like book out the studio spaces yourself, you can always just like you can record other people whenever you want. So I always got distracted, and I shouldn't have. And there's quite a lot of like York St John, the sports and societies. So the societies, there was like big band I always got involved in as well. I would say that it's important was challenging. In terms of the course itself.
Right. Yeah.
I say to me like I'm doing okay at the moment. Like my I wasn't the best at the writing of the essays at the beginning. I felt like I wasn't very comfortable with it, but it was something that I really, really quickly got into. It was the same with like the resources as well, reading lists as well. It felt quite overwhelming at first, but as soon as you get into the swing of university, like it's within the first month, second month, you get, and everyone's in the same boat as well.
Yeah, and it's also like with the more academic side of things, like even though you're on a music production course, you still do have to write like essays and stuff like that. It does like Mark is specifically the person that you would do like essays with, but you would get a lot of help from the staff as well, and like
Yeah,
any of your lectures?
yeah, the university, like the library as well, the staff were very helpful for me as well, and that was the biggest step up for me as well. From going from the undergrad to the masters, there was a lot more writing, and then when I went to the PhD, I was like, my goodness, there's a lot of reading I need to do, and
Yeah.
just trying to make sure I'm getting good, well, really good resources as well, and good references, and making sure they're in the correct way. But there's so many systems in place from York St John that they are able to help you. But yeah, it's a big step up on the academic side for me when I went up to the PhD side. But I'm
Right.
doing all right right now, touch wood.
That's good. Yeah. Did you mainly go to the library for those resources, or did you go to
uh,
like?
yeah, the library had a really good, because as I'm studying Hans Zimmer, it's like I'm looking at a combination of film music and also film as well, because I'm looking at the narrative side of things. So
Right.
yeah, the media section for media production and film studies is phenomenal. Yeah, there's everything, and then the resources that are online that have been very useful even now when the university is currently shut, of course, just because the online
Yeah.
resources, the online references, and looking at all the ebooks, they've been really good. And then if there isn't anything I could find, I can request interlibrary loans where you
Okay.
can where they can send off to a different university library, or even the British Library kind of archives, and then get some things. But I haven't needed to do that this year. I had to do it for one thing last year, but most of the stuff that I've ever needed has been there. And
That's cool.
from
Yeah.
the nature of the PhD as well, music production is quite a modern way of it's kind of a modern course that modern references and resources are very, very much digital now. We're referencing
Right.
music much, not as much as referencing uh, articles and published books. But that's specifically for me. I can't
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah. That's cool. No, that's helpful because then like like I think it's important to know that you have like plenty of different resources to look out for, whether it's just like your actual like teachers and stuff and like lectures versus like actual like written resources and stuff like that. Um, so tell me a little bit about like some of the projects that you've done this year on your PhD and like what that sort of entails.
So my PhD, what is my research question? 2 seconds. I probably the fancy title for my PhD thesis so far is Film Score, Compositional and Production Traits of Hans Zimmer and the Associated Composers of Remote Control Productions.
Okay.
So I am basically looking at Hans Zimmer's history in music rather than film music. That he basically worked as a synth programmer and a technician for quite a lot of UK bands. He
Oh,
was like a synth programmer for the Buggles. So I'm looking at how he has transferred those skills that he learned, his technological skills, into the genre of film music.
right.
So so my kind of first year research was looking at just the roots of Hans Zimmer's style, looking at whether there was any notable traits that were kind of getting transferred. And now I am currently doing like an analysis of all his main films,
Hmm.
and looking at whether the traits of popular music are in them as well. So I've been looking at the like main themes of Inception. What else have I been looking at? Lost But One. I was looking at 12 Years a Slave as well. That's another film. I mean, the list that Hans Zimmer scored is hundreds and hundreds
Yeah.
of credits. And I've noticed that there's, I'm kind of looking at a cumulative composition that's a style where he like uses it's like he's using a structure and then he's adding another level above it with the same melody line, and then adding another, and it's just gradually getting bigger and bigger, not more complex melodically, but just through the instruments that he's using as well.
Right.
So yeah, the projects, so alongside this, I've been the PhD I have to present as well. So I presented for the music production symposium as well. The music production symposium is a event there where third years and masters and PhD students they share their kind of papers to the other music production students. It's really good event. There's always really good food as well. The
Yeah.
really good chips. so yeah, I presented the keynote for that. That was really good fun. And yeah, there's quite a lot of in-house things as well. The staff seem to share quite a lot of research with each other as well. So yeah, it's been really good fun. And then yeah, from the PhD as well, I've done a bit of visiting lecturing as well. So looking, I've been teaching some media students as well. What have I been teaching them actually? It was teaching them looking at diegetic film. It was looking at Foley as well. So it was really good fun. So there's been lots of things that kind of opened up from it, and obviously now I'm working as a technician from it as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's pretty interesting to like go so like in depth into like certain research like that, and like be able to really come up with a whole degree over such a specific thing too. Like it sounds specific, but
absolutely. This looking at Hans Zimmer, this all kicked off from an assignment that was in my master's, and that was one of the assignments that I had to do. It might have changed now, but it was look at the works of a seminal producer, as in like an influential producer,
right?
And explain why are they seminal. And quite a lot of people went for like George Martin, who was the producer of the Beatles and things. And I was looking at Hans Zimmer and saying, he's got quite a lot of production credits. Why is he getting credited as a producer rather than a composer? And then I noticed that all the time he was quite a lot of time he was working with other composers, and he had more of a kind of background look and saying, oh, this needs to go here and there. So from that, I wrote my dissertation in my master's on kind of an analysis of 3 Zimmer soundtracks, and then from that I realized that I'm just scratching the surface, so I might as well go and do a PhD on it. And there's so many things like you'll find like once you get into third year, when you work on your like minor project that's your dissertation or thesis, you'll open a can of worms, and you'll think, oh, this could go somewhere else, and then quite a lot of students will continue on that research into their masters.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool. Huh.
I'm now working in the as an assistant technician in music production. So I look after the music production studios now as well. Yeah, man of all trades.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, well, the music production studios are phenomenal. They are world class. They're fantastic. We have 3 main spaces. We have the bunker, that's the recording studio, and then we have Wilmot 102, that is the kind of mixing room, and then 101, that's our little space that is called the mastering suite. Although quite a lot of people use that as a composing space as well.
Right.
The speakers are phenomenal. We have PMC speakers in in the bunker, and we have some Genelecs in 102 and some ATCs in the mastering suite. So they are phenomenal. The bunker is it's soundproof as well, completely soundproof, so you can kind of smash really, really, really loudly.
Yeah.
Make really loud music. And then the most important thing is that in the bunker we have a Audient mixing desk. That is the 8024. The ASP 8024 Heritage Edition. That's a 24 channel mixing desk. That is very cool. So yeah. The facilities are fantastic, really accommodating. We have Hammond organ as well in the live room. That's our like designated place for the bands and recording. It's what else is it? We've got Pearl drum kit as well. I can't remember I can't remember
which one it is.
I'll let you know. Got it written down.
I love the Hammond though.
Oh, the Hammond's great.
Yeah.
It is a Pearl Vision drum kit. There you go.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then, of course, we've got the instruments as well. We've got Fender Strat as well, American Special, Takamine. We've got Gibson Les Paul, and we have a Fender Roger Waters Precision Bass as well. And yeah, I could make. We've got
so many things.
There's so many things. I mean, obviously, there's the hardware as well, the rack units as well that are just phenomenal. The Focusrites, There's just so much. I've got a list.
Yeah, I mean it's really good for students to know too that they have like, even if you don't have like a guitar that you're bringing or like an instrument that you're bringing, we have that you can already like borrow and practice on and stuff like that.
I think this is what Chris is going to look at as well. I've been sending over Chris information to Chris, so hopefully we're going to have like a digital kind of studio for the prospective students to look at. So you might not want to list everything that I've just said there, but
right, yeah,
it's fantastic.
that's cool. Yeah.
Great.
What do you like? I know that you and Andy are always like very helpful in the studio, like for students to like ask questions or to obviously help us book out equipment and get us the equipment that we need. But obviously, you guys do like a lot more than just that. So like maybe go into a little bit more of like your role in the studio.
Role of technician, yeah. So yeah, the technician's role is to assist students in kind of everyday things. We manage the studio, we manage the software and hardware, so things break all the time. So from fixing plugins, we're always looking for installing new plugins as well. We fix cables. We do quite a lot of the live sound stuff as well. So we've got events on. We'll set up the live sound. What else do we do? We assist the lecturers as well. They have specific things. For example, like we've been from one of Mark's modules. Mark Marrington's one of our lecturers. He's got a module that's looking at like wireless technology, the iPads, and using TouchOS.
Okay, cool.
iPod app. So what we've been doing is we've been setting up that. We've been creating tutorials as well to make them to kind of make sure students know that they exist and make sure that people boot them out and use them correctly and safely without breaking things.
Yeah.
To get more. Our role is very. It's quite diverse. We kind of cover everything, and yeah, we do everything from like we manage the studio bookings as well. So there's any extra kind of equipment that students need, we will try and get it for them as well. What else do we do? Quite a lot. I mean, we do just there's so many events, and it's really good. I mean, even now, even though I'm not in the studio right now, I'm kind of doing lots of admin. I'm creating this technical support hub that's like an online resource that'll have every single manual for every bit of equipment and hopefully a guide for how to use the equipment in different ways. Mm-hmm. We've been creating like microphone guides as well, so hopefully it'll give you like a recommendation of how to use each microphone and what the features of each microphone.
Oh, okay, that's really helpful.
Yeah, so there's like a big list. So yeah, because there's things that we want to make sure that there's equipment on that shelf, everything that on that shelf gets used.
Right.
It doesn't get cobwebs, because there's quite a lot of things that like students will not realize it's there, and we noticed this over the years that like you'll find this microphone that everyone wants to use, and then other ones don't get used, and then someone else starts using that microphone, and then everyone else wants to use that microphone.
Yeah.
And then it's through word of mouth. So we want to make sure that everyone uses every bit of equipment in that.
Right. Yeah. I know like every year group has like different favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. For my major project in my third year, I recorded a kind of concept album. Mm-hmm. So I did quite a lot of piano recording because one of my main instruments is piano. So I recorded in the Steinway, that's the grand piano in the chapel.
Right.
So it's a really good place for location recordings. So I used the NT55 pencil mics, the Rode ones, right. And then I used the it's a Bear MC840. That's kind of like it's not a bass microphone, but it's a what's it called? It's a large diaphragm condenser microphone.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of like nobody really used it, and then we found that like as more people kind of like got through their major projects, they were like everyone was getting information from other students about what microphones they prefer to use.
Right.
So everyone has their own personal kind of setup. And techniques. It's the facilities are they're just so they're so accommodating for any kind of genre that you're recording, and your background as well, your musical background. So hopefully, no matter what instrument you play, or even if you don't play instruments as well, the course is accommodating enough for you to create and produce music.
Right. Yeah. That being said,
You're in such a fantastic place as well. Like in York, there's so many bands, there's buskers, so you can always get session musicians and always call in people to record and find people.
Right. Yeah. That being said too, we can talk more about sort of the student perspective and like what you sort of think the benefit of being in York is, and being a student in York, also like the music scene there and the connections that you've made.
Yeah, York's not the biggest place in the world, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like it's got nothing on London and like the size of Manchester and things, but it is a perfect size for me, and for York St John University. It's York St John is so personal. You can get such good one-on-one support, and the music scene itself is really good. I mean, you go down every pub. If you go down the street, every pub will have some kind of music going on.
Right.
So yeah, it's very easy to find people to play with. If you want to join a band as well, if you want to just listen to music, listen to open mic nights, play at open mic nights as well. It's very easy to do. I don't know how many pubs there are. There used to be like over 300 pubs in York.
Yeah, there's still a lot too.
There's a lot. I have not been to every one of them.
Right. Yeah, me neither. Yeah,
sorry,
like,
what was the rest of the question? Sorry.
like, I guess you sort of answered it. I mean, like, sort of tell me about like the student life in York, and like what you like about like the SU, and like what you've sort of done, not only on campus but off campus as well.
The student life at York St John is fantastic. The Students' Union, there's so many sports and societies. When I started, I didn't really do any sports. I went to the Freshers' Fair. That's like first fair at the beginning of the year, where every sport and society's there to kind of like show you what's going on. And I ended up joining the climbing group there. That was the mountaineering club, and now I do semi-professional climbing.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Since like I started in 2013, I've gotten on to so much that kind of like verging on like competitive national climbing now. So yeah, it's fantastic. Awesome. And there's so many different groups as well. I'm part of the running group now as well. The running society. Was part of the big band as well. There's so many different ones. There's everything from badminton, football. There's a video game society, I think, isn't it? I don't know what it's called. Drama societies. There's so many.
Right. Yeah.
And then sports ones as well. So there's like physio societies as well. There's enough for everyone. And even if you don't join us as sports and society, a sport or society, there's other events going on throughout the year all the time.
Right. Yeah.
The student life as well is really good. I'm sure you know that yourself.
Yeah. I'm not a person who goes out often, but
neither am I. I prefer a pub and a bar rather than nightclubs. Nightclubs are too loud, and I like to have my ears normal.
I know. Yeah, me too. That's exactly how I'm feeling about it. What do you think for like students who are looking at going into this course but are like stuck at home during quarantine and everything? What do you think they could do in the meantime to get sort of accustomed to how the course will be?
I would say no matter like what skills you've got, I would see if you can download any kind of music software. Even if you have an iPhone, just download GarageBand. If you've got a laptop, you can download some free software, free trials and things, and just try and make some music. Whatever it is, doesn't have to be any genre. Just try and make some music and just be creative and just do what you can. Be yourself. Because that's the main thing about this music production course is you're there to produce and create music.
Right,
And
yeah.
even if you can't create music, you can download like audio stems and clips of other files and things, and just download things and then mess with them and
Play with it, yeah.
yeah, play with it. Yeah, play. That's the plan. That's what
Yeah,
I say.
definitely.
Uh,
That's what I'd probably suggest too. And like even if you don't know how to play like an instrument or something, definitely try and take that up if you can.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to brush up. I tried to learn guitar. I played guitar for about 2 years, 3 years, and never really got
Right.
around to actually like, doing it properly. So I've got my guitars and things now. So I'm dedicating an hour or two a day just try and brush up those skills and just yeah. And this is something to like the students who are on the course as well. Just take this time to brush up and
Yeah,
try
keep everything
things as
fresh.
well. Yeah, keep everything fresh. Just try your best. Obviously, that it's quite hard to buy things at the moment, but it might be a good opportunity to buy some cheap gear or music production gear, software, hardware, and get good at it.
Yeah,
So you've got like
definitely.
a really good, so you can have a really good kind of workflow, a personalized workflow that works for you.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I agree. What do you think like if you could give students coming onto this course like three top tips, what would they be?
Be collaborative all the time. Always be professional.
Mhm.
Uh, because you never know who you're going to meet, and that first impression is the most important impression. You'll find that there'll be a lot of extracurricular things that happen all the time. There'll be people to record. I'd say take them up as best as you can. Try and take them because you'll learn so much more just from doing additional kind of recordings and working with other people.
Right,
It goes
definitely.
to that collaborative thing. Yeah. So yeah, just work with other people and be professional.
Yeah. Yeah, I think networking is probably the biggest thing, like just making sure to have an open mind to everyone and also just not even reaching out just to people in your course, but beyond that, like times a billion.
Oh,
um,
the other thing is, I would definitely say another extra important thing is that if you have an idea in your head for a melody line, record it into your phone because you'll forget it within about 10 minutes later,
yep. Yeah, I
and
do that
they
too.
are very very important.
Right. Yeah, I do the same thing. I have so many like weird, just like random recordings on my phone that I don't even know what to do with.
It's just
Yeah.
like strange humming and like what is this? I can't remember, but yeah, it's important. Cool.
Right. Yeah, I think that's all I've really got. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have you got a
Yeah,
cat? Let's see. Where's your cat?
I do have a cat.
I was gonna say, it's like
Here, I'll just stop this recording real quick.